first thing I want to say is I think Halloween 4, as iconic as the opening of John Carpenter's Halloween is, with the pumpkin, the beautiful score that he wrote and performed, there's something about the opening for the Halloween 4, the opening title card, the credits, just it really gets you set up for what's getting ready to go down. And there's not much of a score over it, but you can feel dread coming, and that like really represents the shape Michael Myers in this movie, and I just absolutely love it. It always gets me, like, you got to watch this when it's cool outside. When we're getting closer to Halloween, it just gives you all the right feels. I'm Ray from the Horror Syndicate. This is Horror Movie Massacre, and we are down to the last four Halloween films on our journey through the entire Halloween series. And we have been going backwards. If you've been watching, we did Halloween 5 last week. Yeah, that's all I really got to say about that. It was a fun show. We're just not big fans of it. So we are counting down to Halloween night when we do our top. Well, it's all 13. We're going to rank all 13 of them based off of the episodes that we've done. And I'll just show you last week. We have slash scores. Seth gave Halloween 5 a 52%. I gave it a slightly lower score, and we got our average. And that's how we're going to rank them based off these scores. So join us Halloween night. It'll probably be a little bit later of a show, and that's a Tuesday rather than Wednesday. We'll be doing our show probably, I'd say, almost 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. I got to take the kids trick or treating. So that's going to be a fun show. We've got the four best movies, in my opinion, in the series now, starting with Halloween 4. Next week we'll be doing Season of the Witch, followed by Halloween 2, and of course John Carpenter's Halloween. So stick around for that. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're on YouTube. We've got we're closing in on 1,400 subscribers. Yeah, so please, if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Of course, we need that. And if you like the post, that helps us out too. And as always, as we do, at the top of every show, our dear friend Sean Sheridan has like 10 comments ready for us. So we'll go ahead and go through those, and Seth will be joining us momentarily. Halloween 4 is the best sequel. Yeah. Is the best tension. I tell you what, I went out to this town. I live in Illinois. This town called Highland. I swear to God, it is the living embodiment of Haddonfield, Illinois. I swear to you. I was out there looking around. I was like, holy shit, this is Haddonfield. I'm not even joking. It reminded me so much of Haddonfield. A small town vibe, kids on the sidewalk. It just, like, the houses look so, it's just middle America, Illinois. That's what Haddonfield is. I almost want to shoot a Halloween movie there. Seth, how you doing, man?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I am doing better after last week's snot and cough. Yeah. Donald Pleasance, probably his best performance is Dr. Loomis. Yeah, you might be right on that, Sean. I'm going through Sean's comments here, trying to get people to subscribe to the YouTube channel, of course. I mean, and like this video. Mean negative killing for Ted Hollister. What about Bucky? Or Buck, or whatever that guy's name? He didn't need to die either. Shit, Earl, that's Ted Hollister. Hello, Bradley. How you doing? I got your message. Yes, 35th anniversary. It's coming. We're not quite there yet, but yeah, it's coming. Halloween 4, man. Seth, man, how stoked are you to talk some Halloween 4?
Pretty stoked.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites in the series.
Now, let me ask you, do you think that I have trouble sometimes? I go back and forth, and I'm discounting Halloween 3 because, as great as Halloween 3 is, it's really should be just called Season of the Witch and not be a part of the franchise. I hate saying that, but but as far as your favorite Myers sequel, is Halloween 4 your favorite? I know Halloween 2, we talk about that being one of the favorites, but where does Halloween 4 fall on your list? Generally.
with the Myers stuff, it is my third favorite Halloween movie. I'm a sucker for part two. I love the way that the way it just connects to the first movie, where it's more of an extension of it, and it's got
Great line.
it's still got Dean Cundy as cinematography, so it's like visually, also it's like consistent that way. And I have a lot of love for Halloween 2. I mean, I definitely love Halloween 4 as well, but I give the edge to Halloween 2 just slightly.
Yeah, Halloween 2 still, even though Carpenter's not behind the camera, it still does. Rosenthal does a good job of making it kind of feel like it is just an addition, the same night as the John Carpenter's film. I think he does a fine job. It's not perfect, and it's not the same movie at all. It is definitely a different movie, but man, there's something about Halloween 2 that I just can't shake it from not being my favorite sequel. Um, but Nate, damn near every time I talk to that fool, damn near has me convinced that Halloween 4 should be my favorite sequel, and I don't blame him. It's hard. It's a toss up. It's a toss up. So yes, Haddonfield. That's right. Um, so what we normally do, as talk about the things that work don't work. Let's talk about Halloween 4 and talk about the things that we love. Obviously, we'll get into character discussion, but because I definitely want to talk about Rachel and how much we both like Rachel quite a bit or love her, and really, I don't think there's too many weak parts about this movie. But let's get into some. Let's talk good on Halloween 4. So tell me, Seth, some of your favorite things about this one.
Well, I'll just start off by saying the whole movie. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, it's like peak Dr. Loomis. This is like one of
Mhm.
my favorite um, Donald Pleasance performances as Sam Loomis. I just love the character in this one. Um, I would say actually in general, I just like the characters overall. I mean, Loomis, I love Sheriff Meeker,
Underrated.
Rachel. I think yeah. Daniel Harris was actually very good as Jamie in this.
Yes.
I liked Brady. He was a douchebag, but he was like kind of likable.
He was a
He was a
lovable
kid. He was
douche.
making dumb mistakes.
Yeah. He was a
Yeah,
17
and he
year old.
redeemed
Fun.
himself.
Oh yeah.
He redeemed himself. I think the score is very good. The
Mhm.
atmosphere is very good. It's just a well put together movie, man.
Yeah, I think the atmosphere in this one is top notch, and I mentioned it at the top of the show before you were able to jump back on, and how I absolutely adore the title cards. The opening credits are so good. We talk about John Carpenter's Halloween being so iconic with the pumpkin, even Halloween 2. But man, this one is right up there. You agree with me on this? How great this just and how the it's not really, I don't know if I'd call it exactly a score, but the ominous tones get darker and darker, and it reminds me that the shape is coming, that Michael Myers is coming. By the end of the credits. I fucking love these credits. What about you?
Well, yeah, I mean it's pretty unique because before this we've gotten the pumpkin stuff. I mean, even in Halloween 3, you had the digital pumpkin with
Mm,
the synth
yeah.
score happening, and then this one kind of starts off very muted with like sort of like natural sounds of like wind
Mm,
and all that, and then it progresses into the score, and it seems weird to have an opening credit sequence that's mostly muted, but it's great once that score does finally pick up as soon as the ambulance takes off with Michael. But I mean, even before then, it kind of leads into even with the doctors from Smith's Road approaching Ridgemont, like
mm,
there's little stings in the score that it's like that traditional Halloween. You know, they're building up to it, and I think it's really great. But yeah,
Yeah.
the opening credits are really good for being mostly silence and just like landscape, and it's just I think they set the mood with that.
Sets the mood and the tone. It's something's coming. It's like that's perfect for the
Yeah,
return. He's been gone for 10 years, and we know he's coming, and it's got that feeling. I really love it. Um, yes, rest in peace, George Wilbur, who played Michael Myers in this and Halloween 6. My sincere condolences to Daniel Harris and Brad. Nice. That was good. Yeah, it's a mixed bag here at the Horror Syndicate with Halloween 2. Keith, one of our younger guys, he really loves that one, and depending on which cut you watch, as we did a show on it already, but depending on whatever cut you watch, one is better than the other. I think the director's cut is the better of the two, right? Brad Dourif's performance in that is outstanding.
yeah.
Also, I want to mention I mentioned this on our Facebook page about I watched 25 Years of Terror yesterday. We're going to come back to this later on in the episode, but I want to make sure I remember Never Sleep Again and Crystal Lake Memories are two of the best documentaries in horror history, period. I think you'd probably agree with me, Seth. Uh, 25 Years of Terror is okay.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. 25 Years of Terror is okay. It's very dated now. And it covers up the resurrection, which isn't too bad. But man, we're coming up. This is the 45th anniversary of John Carpenter's Halloween, and we're coming up, even getting closer to 50. And there are 13 movies, and we're in a like in a break from the Halloween franchise. It's time for the guys who made Never Sleep Again and Crystal Lake Memories to do Halloween. Why haven't they done that? Ugh. Anyway, I want to get into that a little bit later. But yeah, getting back to Halloween 4 and some of the things that we were talking about and that you were talking about, they even bring back what I think Lindsay Wallace, right? Which Rachel has a friend named Lindsay, and we all assume that it's Lindsay Wallace, and then of course we get Tina in part 5 for some reason rather than Lindsay. She called her Lindsay, which was kind of a nice throwback. And I think Haddonfield overall also looks great. The town, it was Salt Lake City, I believe, or a suburb right outside of Salt Lake City.
Hmm.
But like everything's on point in this movie. The local drugstore, it's small town, middle America, and they did it better than any of the other movies, even maybe better than Halloween, John Carpenter's Halloween. But if you think about John Carpenter's Halloween, there's like 3 or 4 locations. There's the Doyle house, the school, there's not much going on there. Where in this one, you get to see a little bit more of Haddonfield, especially with the poor Ted Hollister situation. Uh, but yeah,
Well,
man, the cast is.
that's the great.
Go ahead.
Sorry for my delay.
No, it's all good.
Um,
Go ahead.
that's the kind of great thing about Halloween 4 as well, is because like the original, it was like you said, there was a very few locations. It was primarily, good chunk of it was at the Doyle house. We did see a little bit of the town when Annie and Laurie were going on their joyride, puffing
Yeah.
away, but
Puff puff
um,
give.
it was it was mostly confined, and that's the way it was supposed to be. And
Mm,
then the second one, we see a little bit of the town, but it's mostly at the hospital. So both of those movies were, like the hospital was bigger than the house, but like here with this one, a good chunk of it too is while Rachel and Jamie are out trick or treating, walking the streets, and
yeah.
Michael cuts the power, and yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff.
Well, nothing against John Carpenter's movie. There was a way smaller budget. They had a bag of leaves, to hide the palm trees and all that stuff. But this one felt way more like Middle America. It felt like somewhere where I'm from, which I appreciate because I'm from Illinois, and it felt like Halloween more so than Halloween, actual Halloween, which I really appreciate. Yes, we did. We covered the entire Friday the 13th franchise, movie by movie. I believe at the end of last year into the beginning of this year, and then we did a ranking show. This actually we did a ranking show for that and Elm Street on the same day. All can be found on our YouTube channel, the Horror Syndicate. Well, youtube.com/the Horror Syndicate. So check it out. Subscribe. Be great.
And
We
we
love
did,
it.
and we did a like 3.5 hour long ranking of all 31 or whatever
Oh
films
my
from
god,
Halloween,
yeah.
Friday 13th, and Elm Street.
Yeah, that was a massive power ranking of all 13 Halloween films, all 12 Friday the 13th, all 9 Elm Street movies. And we just, yeah, that was last year. That was a blast. We also did a fun episode where we ranked the final girls from Friday the 13th. That was how we actually ended up starting this show in the first place. So, yeah, man, we've got tons of content. We've done the Scream movies. And this is what we're going to be doing on this show, Horror Movie Massacre. We do another show, The Horror Syndicate Discourse, generally on Sundays, but we're on a hiatus because Nate's he's doing everything for this play. He's in Jekyll and Hyde, and so we're going to take the time off. But yeah, Discourse, we kind of dig into different movies and kind of go over all the nooks and crannies. This, we kind of just talk about how we feel, love, hate, whatever, and give our scores. Next up is we're doing Phantasm next, right?
Yes.
I think so.
Yes.
And then in December we're doing American Werewolf in London, an American Werewolf in Paris. Seth is out of control on werewolves. I'm just going to say it. I think he's up to 94 now, different werewolf movies. Is that right?
93.
93. Come on, get those numbers up, bro. And then we're gonna do a couple just different films because December is a weird month. We already did Silent Night, Deadly Night, all of those movies, but December we're doing Lord of Illusions, great fucking flick, and then a movie called Life Force, a Tobe Hooper movie from 1985 with a woman with insanely great breasts. So that'll be coming for the end of the year, and then next year we're gonna. I feel like we're gonna be doing Hellraiser at some point. We're going to do a whole show on Rec on January 3rd, and then Child's Play is the first franchise of next year, Child's Play. And we're doing that in order. We'll start with Child's Play 1 to the remake, and then by the end of February, we'll be doing our ranking. We will take a break on February 14th for My Bloody Valentine, though, because we haven't done that. And then Hellraiser starts in March. So we're going to be doing this on Wednesdays. So hit the subscribe button, check us out, follow us on Facebook. We try to do as much fun stuff as possible. We're not like bloody disgusting. We have articles, thehorrorsyndicate.com. Seth does these amazing fucking unused script breakdowns that people just love. I just posted The Dream Police, the unused sequel to Elm Street 5. It's up on the Facebook page. You can find it on. And he's done one of the Halloween 4 scripts. He's done a Halloween 6 script, Halloween 3D script, Halloween Returns. Yeah, there's a lot of them, and people just seem to love those. It's like what could have been, and they're good reads too.
And the original script for Cursed, which was almost an entirely different movie.
Post that for Werewolf Wednesday. And Seth's going to be doing some stuff on the Facebook page for Werewolf Wednesday. He loves werewolves because he's a freak. Although, we got to admit, it's cool to have. I've always liked vampires, and I've been kind of out of it. I watched Dracula the other night, Seth, the 1931 Lugosi film. And, all of a sudden, I'm all about vampires again all of a sudden. And I'm talking about vampires, guys. I'm talking about real vampires. I'm talking about Fright Night, or even the new Fright Night, 2011. He was what's his name? Colin Farrell was good in that. Am I wrong?
In that.
Yeah, Fright Night 2 is really good. Even the Lost Boys, Lost Boys is a good one. Not Nightbreed, but what's that called?
Near Dark.
Near Dark. Thank you. I mean, there's a lot of good vampire movies. I've been watching Christopher Lee Hammer horror Dracula movies for the last month, and Peter Cushing Frankenstein movies, and I fucking love it. Anyway, back to Halloween. I promoted a lot of our stuff. I forgot about. I got some. Let me go back to these comments. Let's see. I like the chemistry between Rachel and Jamie. I love it because at the beginning of the movie, when we meet Rachel and the other Carruthers, and I love this scene. Rachel is talking about how she doesn't want to eat too much. You know, she just seems like a real American girl. Doesn't want to get. She want an oinker for her daughter, and then she complains. You know, I got that big date with Brady. I love that scene. And then Jamie comes in, and I had to ruin everything. And you know, that's just so teenage sister. And you know, I know they're not really sisters, but I love that scene. And they do have a good chemistry. And I love that Rachel puts her whole fucking life on the line for this girl. I think it's fantastic because that roof scene is one of the best scenes in the franchise. Period.
Very
Hard
good scene.
stop. One of the best.
Very good
Shit,
scene.
man.
Yeah.
We gotta do like a ranking of our favorite scenes. Am I wrong on this? We got to do this.
We should do it as part of those videos that we're talking about doing.
We should.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know what Nate's. I bet you we'll come together with a lot of the same scenes. What's your favorite scene from Halloween 4, do you think? Because I do think my favorite is, it's either between the time when Meeker and Loomis are out and they see the 3 or 4 different Michael Myerses and they're just the kids playing. I love that scene. But it's between that and the roof scene, I think, are my 2 favorite scenes.
I have to go with the ending. I just love it. Jamie standing on top of the stairs, Loomis just screaming and just fucking being so upset. Like it just ends with that. You know, there's no big score moment. It's just.
Excuse me. Yeah, I know you're not wrong. It's hard to pick from this movie, but because even the scene on the truck when I guess it's Earl gets his fucking face ripped, like there's just too much good. And then that scene where you almost think that she grabs Michael's hand and they're, get away from him, Jamie. You almost feel like that he did transfer the evil to her almost, because then she of course stabs her stepmother. And just a great fucking movie. Just I don't have almost anything to say negative about this movie. Dude, oh man, we've done we've done a few commentaries. What we'll do is we'll watch the movie, and we haven't done one in a while, but on the Horror Syndicate Discourse, we'll watch a movie and talk about it. We've done Halloween, I think. We did Dream Warriors, I believe, the first Elm Street, Freddy's Dead, actually. We've done a lot of Elm Street stuff. My favorite werewolf movie, Silver Bullet. We've done a few. Yeah, we did Silver Bullet. Nate tried to play it off as it was some like, what do you call it? After school special. I don't know who recommended the 9th configuration, but it was amazing. I don't know either. That could have been Jared, and it could have been a long time ago because that sounds like something Jared watched. I've never seen it.
Either Jared or Nate.
Yeah, it has to be one of those two. Hellraiser, I've not seen most of them and will not. Not. Dude, bullshit. You're watching them. Come on. Sorry if I missed it.
Sean, you're watching.
You got to watch them. Have you done any found footage? Not yet. So we're going to do Rec, just one full episode of the 4 Rec movies. This fucking guy is going to make me sit down and watch the rest of that series, and we're going to talk about them.
You have to, man.
Beginning of the year. I would like to do the Blair Witch movies because I like the first movie quite a bit. I love Book of Shadows. I don't give a shit what anybody says about it. And the third movie's fine.
Well, I love Book of Shadows as well. But we did a Blair Witch episode last year.
Yeah, but that was the Discourse. I'm talking about this show.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Vampires rule. Yes, they do. And werewolves drool. Lost Boys is a classic, absolutely. The Lust. I have not seen that yet. I need to see that one. I'm going to see Saw tomorrow, by the way.
Ooh, excellent. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah.
As far as Last Voyage of the Demeter, I assume to be like the only one that really kind of overly loves it.
I have a feeling I'm going to like it. I think I'm going to like it. I gotta see it. Would you believe my top 3 Friday the 13th movies are Jason Takes Manhattan? Yowza. I love Jason Takes Manhattan. Seth hates it. I hate Jason X. I don't like part 3 either. I don't understand why people like that one so much. But you know what? It's not even a big deal because this fool likes part 4 the best. Come on, and we all know Jason Lives is the best.
Well, no, I mean you said final chapter wrong.
Did I?
Yeah.
When they blow him away, that is a good scene. Anyway, we probably should do like just a general uh, conversation. Something we haven't done one of those in a long time. Maybe we'll do those on an off night just for fun. Back to Halloween 4. There's a goof for
Like
Michael
shoot the
Myers.
shit.
That's the way. Here you go. Do what?
Yeah.
And not ask us anything.
Oh, I just said like do a shoot the shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saw X is the best of the series. I was shocked how good it is. I'm going at 11 a.m. tomorrow, so I'm like $6 tickets at 11 because I'm looking forward to it. And I'm going to go see Exorcist Friday morning.
So the only thing I'm going to say to you is just forget about everything you've been hearing about Saw X. Do not go into it with hype, okay?
Let me tell you something. I'm not
'Cause I
hearing
don't-
anything. I'm not listening to anything. I'm not. I don't want to.
Okay.
I trusted your article and just posted it as is because I was like, I do not want to read it.
Oh, you didn't read it? Okay.
No, I did not read it.
Okay, good.
I didn't. I watched one trailer, and I don't even remember anything about it. So I don't want to know a goddamn thing. I'm gonna go in fresh. No, anything. I've seen all the movies. I like the Saw series for the most part. Some of them, yeah, some of them are kind of, and I don't, I don't know. We're definitely going to be doing the Saw like the whole series at some point. But yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it. I've been like trying to. I'm still behind on 2023 movies because I still want to see Last Voyage. I need to see Renfield at some point. I may actually watch that today because it's on Peacock. Anyway, I got phlegm in my back of my throat. There we go. Hold on. I'm on antibiotics now. It's come. Anyway, back to Halloween. I love just bullshitting, by the way, guys. Just really bullshitting around is fun. We need to do a bullshitting show. Maybe since Discourse is on a break, we'll do that on Sunday or something if Seth's up to it. You get Jared back up here, man. Part 3 sucks donkey balls. Well, see, the thing is, most people, when I ask, and I've asked many times on the Horror Syndicate, why do you like Friday the 13th Part 3 so much? And they're, oh, it's the one where he gets the mask. I'm like, God, that's just a single part of the movie. He has the mask in the rest of the movies. Is that a real good reason? Do you like Ali? I mean, it's got one of the worst final girls in the entire series. Am I wrong?
It does have one of the worst final girls in the series for sure, but I don't know. I'm not as harsh on Part 3 as you were.
I'm harsh. I do not like Chris. No, I've never seen the full series. Never seen the full series for Friday. Have you seen any of Friday the 13th, the series?
I remember. I think I watched some of it like way back when it was like first on, and I remember this really bad episode. It was almost like Phantom of the Opera type, but more slashery. And I just couldn't get into it. But it's been a long time, so
yeah, it's something I wouldn't mind checking out. Oh, is it called Good Night? Or are you leaving? Anyway, let's talk about one of the things about Halloween 4 that people do complain about. And I don't think it's that big of a deal. It never really bothered me. And I think we touched on it last week a little bit, but should do a. So Seth, before I get into this, Seth has a full review on the horrorsyndicate.com, Sean, of Saw X, and he did a full ranking of the first 9 movies, which now I feel like you're gonna have to update that. With the new movie, because I didn't ask you where you have it ranked yet, but I don't want to know. I do not want to know until after I see it. We'll talk tomorrow after I get out of the theater. Okay. But we're gonna do the full Saw series at maybe next year. Anyway, I want to talk about the mask for Halloween 4 because that seems to be. First of all, they and I see why they did the mask on the poster, which I have it right here. is essentially the mask, the William Shatner Don Post mask. And then the mask that they use in the movie, it's like this blatant white face, plain white face. I don't. It's not my least favorite mask in the series, but I know it's a problem for a lot of people. What are your thoughts on this mask, Seth? Does it bother you? Does it take anything away?
Well, okay, so as far as the mask on the poster versus the one in the movie, it's sort of like a fast food restaurant. You see a picture of a nice Whopper or double quarter pounder, and they're like
Yeah,
perfect looking. But then when you get them, they're all like crunched
smushed.
together and
Mhm.
sloppy. Yeah, so it's kind of
Still
like that.
delicious though.
Um,
Still delicious, right?
Still delicious
Yeah,
and bad for
just like the mask.
you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same. It's a
Yeah,
great analogy because it looks great in the picture, still delicious and bad for you. Michael Myers looks great in the picture, still delicious because it's Michael Myers and he's bad for you. Great analogy.
I can't take credit for that. I think I saw a meme
Oh,
and I thought it was just perfect. But anyway, um,
I'm giving you credit.
um, okay. The So the mask, I hate it, right? But at the same time, I kind of understand because he randomly went to the drugstore
Well, this
and he
one.
grabbed a cheap knockoff mask, and I mean, and we see that all the time, right? There's stores that have like knockoff Michael Myers mask,
Oh yeah. Hmm.
knockoff Scream, and all this other type of stuff. So it does make sense, even though I don't like the mask at all.
So my question is, would it have been better if he would have continued to wear the bandage and his blue suit? Because he wears the bandage up until that point when Jamie and Rachel are in the store, and I'm also confused as to why he just didn't kill them in the store, but or Jamie anyway.
Oh, he's
But
toying with his food.
yeah, but I mean, would you have? Would I mean? I don't know that people would go to a Halloween movie for a guy that's Michael Myers, but in bandages. What do you think?
No, they it's almost guaranteed you need that white mask.
Ah,
You know.
I did like the bandage mask. I thought it was cool, but also he didn't need it at this point. This is 10 years after he was burned. I don't know why he's wrapped up in bandages.
But yeah, but I mean, it looked great, especially in that scene where he killed the mechanic there in that shop.
She's cleaning up. She found a picture of her and her mom right after she was born. It's
Oh
touching. Yeah.
yeah.
Put in a capsule. Love you.
Hey, Huntress.
Seth says hi. Oh, she waved. I don't know if you can see. Yeah. Sorry about that. Um, I don't know. The mask never bothered me. That's my point is that it never ever bothered me. The mask in part five bothers me. The masks in part H2O bother me. You know.
Well, it's like one of those things too, where it's like I don't like the mask, but it has not stopped me from watching this movie over and over and
No.
over again.
No. No, because it's more than just the mask. This movie. Seth, answer this question.
Um. Well, I'm a weirdo where I actually like the Hoffman stuff. Of basically, he starts with part four, but his big arc is five, six, and seven. Um, I just really I think they do a good job of kind of connecting everything together, even though it gets super convoluted. The Saw franchise right from the start, right? You have to admit they ask you to take a leap of faith and logic, and whether you're willing to do that or not, especially as the films go on, that's all up to you. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
8 and 9, Jigsaw and Spiral. They try to do something a little different. They're more standalone stories. They're towards the bottom of my list, but I kind of enjoy them. Um, I would definitely say if you like the first 4, go see Saw X. But I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, Steven. I mean, it's really up to you if you're willing to devote your time to giving them all a shot, and whether or not you're willing to take a leap of faith and logic for quite a bit of stuff that happens in the later ones. But I personally enjoy them.
Yeah, it's a there's the series. I think overall is good. I'm not a big fan of Jigsaw. Spiral was okay. It felt very disjointed, but I understood why. Um, and it's hard to watch Chris Rock in a role like that still for some reason. But yeah, I do like the Hoffman stuff myself as well. But I think Saw 7 is the probably the low point. Is it 7? The final
Yeah.
chapter. That one's
Yep.
probably one of the worst ones. But
Yeah.
overall, I mean, they're fun movies. You get a good twist in almost every one of them. They're worth watching. I can't wait to
Yeah.
watch the new one tomorrow. The only thing for it nailed what Kills failed to do. The whole movie, it's something of mob
Yeah.
mentality. Yeah, I agree. Killing poor Ted Hollister. That really broke you up, man. I'm sorry. I hate Hoffman.
I love that line. Shit, Earl. That was Ted Hollister.
It was Ted
You
Hollister.
dumb son of a bitch. You
So,
said you saw Myers.
and they just leave him there. And they just leave poor Ted Hollister there. It's like, are you going to tell Ben Meeker? I mean, come on. All right, let's talk about, if we can, anything that we didn't like about this one. I mean, is there any? I know that we do love this quite a bit. I mean, the next 4 movies are just complete love fests. We love 3, we love 2, we love JC's original, of course. But is there anything other than the mask, or the blonde wig mask that they forgot on that in the school? Because like there's a lot of the bullying is good in this movie with the little kids teasing Jamie about her, uncle and all, our mom isn't dead or whatever, all that stuff. The set, I mean, this movie is, I can't say it's not flaw or it's flawless, but it's damn close. So anything that and we haven't even talked about Reverend Sayer yet.
Yeah.
So you're hunting, ain't
Yeah.
you?
For me, there's just a couple little minor like nitpick stuff. I think I have nothing against George Wilbur. I think some of the padding on his
Yeah.
with him looked a little off. And besides the mask and the blonde mask situation, the only other thing that kind of I'm kind of like, okay, is the whole truck scene at the end, because those dudes are totally oblivious. I mean, you would feel like the truck would,
Yeah.
the bed of the truck would bound. You would know
Over weight
if someone
shifting, yeah.
was, yeah. So it's, I don't know. It's a little nitpick thing, but I mean, other than that I can't really think of anything else that I dislike about this film. I think it's a great Halloween sequel.
I do too. It's one of the better. It falls into that great 1988 year too. With Dream Master is an underrated sequel for Halloween or Elm Street. Uh, Jason Friday the 13th Part 7. I think we both like it for the most part. Child's Play, Hellraiser 2. Pumpkinhead. There are a lot of good movies in '88, and this is one of the standouts in my opinion. Um, I wanted to
I
see. I
do have
don't know.
something to point out.
Go ahead.
I do have something to point out with Halloween 4. Um, so, fun fact: Wade lived because he was told to fuck off.
That's true. That
If
is
she
true.
accepted his offer, he would have been at the house.
Poor Wade. Or not really poor Wade. Good for him. I wonder if he has survivor's guilt. Um,
I think
because I
he
mean,
left Haddonfield to become
probably. Yeah, and we actually had uh, Sasha Jensen on our show a couple years ago, and
monk.
he's a good dude. I liked him, and we got to talk about his little spit take. Because I always love that scene when he's fighting Michael Myers in the staircase or in that little, whatever, and he takes the time to spit after, and he like, is he the first one other than Laurie maybe to stand up to Michael Myers, really, other than Loomis and Laurie? Like he stands his ground as best as he can, as
He's
Michael Myers.
yeah, I mean, especially for the early films. I think before Tommy Doyle in part 6, I think he's the only one to take a swing at Michael.
Yeah, I mean, and we get John, of course, in Halloween H2O. But yeah, no, like he the best part about that is he really did give Rachel and Jamie time to get away.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of a low key hero in a way. Um, Plus, super nice guy. Liked talking to him. Thanks for explaining, Seth. I'm a huge fan of Children of the Corn series. I can't explain uh, why, but you just did. Rock out with a cock out, Seth. Okay. Um,
I'll
I'm
keep it
actually
that
working on re-ranking the Children of the Corn movies for the website because of the new one that came out this year. It's actually better than some of the other ones, and that's weird to me. Yeah, I know. Did you watch it?
I have not.
It's
So,
dude.
is it officially on Shutter yet?
Yeah, that's how I watched it. It's bad when you have a horror obsession and there's a movie that you know is not good, but it is a little bit better than some of the other ones, and you're like, man, should I buy that? It's like $10, but should I get that? And I'm like, yeah, I got all the other ones, but
Well,
anyway,
exactly. I was just gonna say that I own all the Children of the Corn movies, so I might as well.
yeah,
I
that's gonna
invested
happen.
that
Yeah,
much.
exactly. Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'll be buying it at some point. It was not the worst thing, but it was also kind of the worst thing. But I swear the last few, like, I don't even remember the Genesis, uh, Revelation or something. There's always books from the Bible. Those were just some of the worst. The Runaway was really bad. Yeah, I watched them all within like a 3 day span a couple years ago. Children of the Corn. There's like 10 of the. There maybe more. I think it's 11 now. Um, but yeah, I don't really have too many complaints with Halloween 4. It's always a pleasure to watch this one. Where a Halloween 5 or H2O or Resurrection, I have a hard time dealing with. Um, I own the first one, never seen it. The first Children of Corn's pretty good. It's very dated, but it's pretty good. So, is there anything else you want to say before we get into our slash scores?
No,
Okay, so
let's do the scores.
let's do the scores. So, as I mention this every time, we have 10 categories on a scale of 1 to 10. We add it up. That's our slash score, and the categories are things from casting, direction, story, cinematography, kills, even effects, all that stuff, and that's how we get to our score. Is another one, our slash score. And Seth gives Halloween 4 an 88%.
That's the image you went with.
Oh yeah. I always try to find silly images for you. Come on. What did I do last week? It was crazy Loomis yelling at Jamie, wasn't it? Let me see.
It was Crazy Loomis, yeah, because I hate
Yeah,
asshole Loomis.
I know you hate asshole Loomis, so I got assault Loomis in full effect. So there's your. I couldn't find anything good. I the one I used for myself, you'll see, but it's because of the conversation Nate and I had in our chat. So anyway, take it away,
Okay.
Seth.
Yeah, so I gave it 88%. I rated it fairly highly for I think the writing for the most part is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the direction and cinematography are actually pretty good. There are moments where it does almost kind of like have like this look and feel of like a TV movie at certain
Yeah.
points. But I think overall they did a really good job with nailing the visual aesthetic and just kind of really nailing down the atmosphere. The score is fantastic. The editing's good. The acting is good. Again, going back to the characters too, it's there's a lot of like really likable characters. The effects were pretty decent. Entertainment value is very high for me on this one. This is definitely one of the Halloween films I've seen the most. I think this is definitely one of the best Halloween sequels. So I gave it 88%.
Yeah, that's high praise. I mean, and for good reason. It's damn good. It's damn good. It's not, like I said, it's not one that I ever cringe when I like, oh, I got to watch Halloween 4. It's never been like that. It's always a pleasure watching this one, and my scores are always lower than yours for the most part. And so I gave this one an 82%. And the reason I chose this image was because like it's a lot of these movies that take place in Illinois. They always throw shots of Lincoln somewhere in there. And I told Nate, I was like, this is one of my biggest pet peeves of this movie is like when they go to that diner, that roadside diner. Why does there have to be 4 images of Abraham Lincoln? I've been in so many places. The only time I ever see images of Abraham Lincoln in Illinois is in Springfield at the Capitol building, which I've been to, and the Lincoln Museum. That's it. Our license plate has Lincoln on it, but like other than that, there are not pictures of Lincoln all over the place. Also, I love Donald Pleasance. That's another reason why I chose this image. But yeah, 82% for me is high, especially coming off the heels of the last one, Halloween 5. I gave it a 40. Here it is, 46%. I love this movie, plain and simple. I know I gave Halloween 2 a higher score though. Oddly enough, there's something about Halloween 2 that I just really love, and I just can't put a finger on it. But we'll figure that out next week. Our overall combined score, though, 85%. Solid score. I guess I could have given you this image, but I saved it for the both of us. What, you don't like this? Goon. That mask is bothering me. I don't know why people hate that mask, but yeah, I don't know. I think 85% is a pretty solid score. What do you think?
Yeah, it's decent.
Yeah, this show makes me look forward to Wednesday. Thank you. Who the fuck looks forward to Wednesday? That's why we do it on Wednesdays, because there's something to look forward to. Good old Abe, yeah, honest Abe. Apparently, did you know Abraham Lincoln was a wrestler, like undefeated? Because now all the time, every time we talk about Abraham Lincoln and it comes up, Reynolds talks about the famous wrestler. Now, interesting thing about this is, of course, we did the 5-star rating system on the Horror Syndicate's Facebook page, where we put up 5 stars and we came up with a score for that also. And you, the viewers, gave it an 84%. That's pretty good. That's pretty close to what we got. So overall, I think this is really well liked. So that's good. I do want to take a second to promote something. It's promoting us anyway, but Seth's article, it's a must read in my opinion. I'm going to pull it up here on the screen so you can take a quick look, and I'll share the link in the comments. But it's Halloween, what could have been the original 4, or Halloween 4. It is a rather long read, but it's damn worth it. He goes into the script, and generally he leaves a link for the script. So check it out. I'll leave the link in the comments, but it's a definite great read. Seth does one hell of a job. He reads these damn scripts and then breaks them down, so nobody else has to. And then you just can read his breakdown, because his breakdowns are fucking tight. So definitely check that out. Huh?
I said, yeah.
Yeah. So definitely check that out. They are stupendous. Check it out after the show. You won't be sorry, and you'll find the other ones too for Halloween 6 and Cursed and whatever else returns. Yeah, just check it out. They're there. Let's see. We got some. We need a proper sequel to Halloween 4 with Danielle Harris as an adult Jamie Lloyd. Get Aaron Armstrong to come back as Michael Myers.
Yeah, he
So
was good.
that would be an interesting concept. Would Jamie be locked away, or would she be moving on? And, like, I'm curious to know what Jamie would be doing at this point. Jordan, how you doing, man? Glad to see you here. That's interesting. I wouldn't mind seeing something like that. Just like we've been saying, we need to get Lisa Wilcox back for a proper sequel to Dream Child. And yes, Dream Child. Why not? Why Dream Child? Because Dream Child's okay. Ghost by Carpenter 4.
Yeah.
I do need to watch more 40s movies. I've only seen like 16, and they're mostly Universal. Why do you know that? Who's been talking to this guy? I have my top 10 of the 30s and 50s and 60s and 70s. I didn't do the 40s because I like way off topic again, but I'll go over the list real fast of the movies from the 1940s. It feels like a kind of like a cop out to I have a list here of all the horror movies I've seen, all 1034. But from the 1940s, we've got The Invisible Man Returns, which could be my number one at this point. I like that one. The Wolfman, Ghost of Frankenstein, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, Cat People, the lesser cat people. The Mummy's Tomb, The Corpse Vanishes. That was a cool one. Son of Dracula, Return of the Vampire, House of Frankenstein, The Mummy's Ghost, The Mummy's Curse, The Invisible Man's Revenge, She Wolf of London. That's all of the ones I've seen. Most of them are Universal movies, and it's just like I don't feel like I can do a top 10 40s list without seeing others. Like there's one I want to see starring Boris Karloff called Isle of the Dead, which was on Hulu, but you have to have a subscription to something else. It's like Christ. I need to see some of these, and it's difficult. Spiral Staircase is one I've seen, but I don't remember, so I never put the stuff on my list unless I can remember it. But Nate gave me a whole list a couple months ago of things to watch, and I lost it. So it's probably in our chat somewhere. But anyway,
Good luck finding that.
right? Yeah, I mean, dude, I think we talk to each other more than I talk to any of my other friends. Me, you, Nate, occasionally Jared and Keith. Um, but anyway, yeah. So I'll get on that. I'll be sharing my '60s list, I think, tomorrow, and we'll be sharing a bunch of other stuff. I'm sharing old 31 Days of Horror posts from back in the day because when we started the Horror Syndicate, we didn't have very many followers, and now that we've got nearly 50,000 followers, tell your friends we're closing in on 50,000. We're at 49,664 or something like that. And we want to get as many people in here as possible because I like to think, and I think Seth would agree with me that I mean we're just a fun horror website, podcast, Facebook, social media page. We just like to have fun. We love seeing people's opinions. We just don't want anybody to fight. That's the one thing I can't stand is when people get into little bitch ass arguments and people start bringing out racist bullshit, and then they come message me on the Facebook page about all that bullshit. Don't do that. We're not here for that. We're here to talk about horror and have a good time. Period. Right, Seth?
Right. This is not nursery school.
No, it's not. We're all about having fun and talking about something that we love, and that's the reason you're here, right? You love horror. Talk about horror. Don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
So
Or
anyway,
at least if you're going to be an asshole, be funny.
right? I agreed. There's no reason to be that way. But we want to get a bunch of people in here, and we want more people to check out the show because I think we have a good time, and we want you guys to have a good time. We try to be informative too. Like when I started the Horror Syndicate, I thought I was like, man, I know all about horror. And then I met Jared. He's like, have you ever seen Profondo Rosso? Have you ever seen this, that, and the other? I'm like, holy shit, I don't know a goddamn thing about horror. So I was like, what we need to do is our mandate for the Horror Syndicate is, I mean, I know a lot of people know stuff, but we need to inform people that there's more than just these movies, Halloween and Friday the 13th. There's so much great shit out there in horror. And I think a lot of people are missing stuff. Speaking of, we've also seen over the last 7 years since the Horror Syndicate has been around a growth in interest in Halloween 3. So, which is fantastic because coming into the Horror Syndicate, everybody fucking hated this movie, it seemed like. I love this movie. Seth, how do you feel about Halloween 3?
I've loved it since I first watched it,
Dude.
And I saw it out of the original run there. I saw it last because I was told that it was trash, and then I watched it and I'm like, what the fuck are people talking about? I thought it was a good time.
Thank you, Steven.
And it's one that I love to watch still to this day.
I was a big fan of Halloween going into, I think it was the Halloween season of 1990. So I was 10. And so my mom and my stepdad bowled every Friday. They're in a bowling league. And I went up there because I had a girlfriend up there, and I would go see her and stuff, and we'd smooch on the side and whatever. But I saw they were playing Halloween 3 on USA or something like that. Exactly. That should be our tagline. Talk about horror and have a good time. But so I saw Halloween 3 was going to be on. I asked my mom, I was like, can I stay home? I've never seen Halloween 3. I want to watch it. And I sat there perplexed because we didn't have the internet back then. And all it said in the TV guide was Halloween 3 starring Tom Atkins and whoever else. So I had no idea what was going on. And I'm sitting there waiting and waiting. I was like, where's Michael Myers? And I had to watch this with commercial breaks. And I'm like sitting there, like, I like ran in to make popcorn, came back because I thought I might miss Michael Myers. And then towards the end of the movie, you see John Carpenter's immortal classic, Halloween. And I'm like, what? Wait a second. You can watch Halloween and Halloween 3. What? I like had no clue what was going on. And then my mom came home that night and I was like, she's like, what'd you think of Halloween 3? I was like, do you like that movie? And she goes, oh yeah, it's different, but I love it. And I'm like, I hated it. And I stomped off to my room. I'll never forget that. I will never fucking forget that. And you know, there was no Michael Myers. I didn't know that was on purpose. So I went, man, a good 15 years shunning Halloween 3 until I got my first DVD because I bought it on VHS, maybe watched it once or twice. Very dismissive of it, and kind of didn't pay attention to it. And then I got the DVD in like 2005 or 2006, maybe a little bit earlier than that. And I watched it again. I'm like, wait a second. First of all, this has a fantastic score. That was one of the first things that popped up because it was right around when Lord of the Rings came out and Episode 2, Star Wars Episode 2, and all that. And I was really paying attention to scores for the first time in my life. And I was like, the music from the get-go is fantastic. And then that fucking ending reminded me of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1956, the original movie. And I'm like, holy shit, I get it now. I fucking get it. And I've loved it ever since. And then, of course, I watched Tommy Lee Wallace talk about how much of a fan he was. And he started connecting all the pieces. The town's called Santa Mira. That was the name of the town in Invasion of the Body Snatchers. You know, it's his favorite horror movie. So I was like, God damn it. I feel like an asshole for shunning this for so long. And Invasion of the Body Snatchers has always been one of my favorite movies from the 50s my entire life. You know, my mom loved it. It was one of the early ones she saw. And this is Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but Halloween and Celtic. I love it.
Well, the thing for me, like one of the things I've always said about Halloween 3 is that it is the best John Carpenter movie not directed by John Carpenter. You know, it looks and feels like a Carpenter. I know that, you know, Carpenter did the score for it, he produced it, but there's just something about the way that it was made. It totally feels like a Carpenter movie.
Does it feel like it exists? It feels like it exists in the same universe as Prince of Darkness. Am I wrong? It feels like they're in the same universe.
Yeah. Or even like Christine.
Or Halloween Kills.
Evil Dies Tonight.
Yeah, or Halloween Ends for that. Now, But yeah, no, I love it. It's grown. My affection has grown for it so much. By the way, Ryan, were you the one that said you live in Illinois? Where at in Illinois do you live? This feller here, because I'm curious. I live near St. Louis. I'm just saying. Um, the soundtrack, yeah, it's definitely a soundtrack you got to listen to without watching the movie. It's got to be one of the best scores in the entire series. Seth, don't you have it on your iPod or some shit or your phone?
Oh, well, I listen to it quite a bit. You can go on YouTube and listen to the whole album.
Right. Yeah, it's John Carpenter is a weird guy. I don't know who recommended the night
Well, he's got his
configuration. I'll ask the guys. It's Jared or Nate. I think it was Jared. The called. Okay, I think that's far away from me. I'm gonna look. Just curious. I don't want to like stalk. Well, I'm gonna stalk you now. I think DeKalb's up north. Yeah, it's 4 hours from me. I used to live in Villa Park, right outside of Chicago. If this is off of 55, I see 88. Um, I feel like I remember seeing DeKalb pop up whenever I would drive from here to Chicago. Anyway, good to have a fellow Illinois native in the house. All right, so I mean that's our show. I don't really have much more to say about. I love Halloween 4. I cannot wait to talk about Halloween 3, and it's a zany movie. But man, it's absolute. So me and my kids every year, my kids love it. My kids are 14 and 10, and my daughter will be 10 soon. But we watch that while carving jack lanterns on October 28th every year. Every year, it's that and trick or treat. Those are our go-tos for carving jack-o'-lanterns. So I can't wait to watch it again. I got to watch it a little bit earlier this year because of the show, and it's okay. I'll watch it 2 or 3 times this month. I don't give a fuck. I don't. I may have already watched some of it today. So yeah. So I don't even care. I'm so glad. Like I changed our. Okay, yeah, I know exactly where that is. I changed our what do they call it, cover image on Facebook to that, and generally nobody comments on that shit. Dude, you guys went ape shit on talking about some Halloween 3. Did you see those comments, Seth? Let me look.
I haven't really checked out the Facebook page very much.
You should. That's where it's going on. Did you know today is the 38th anniversary of Lamberto Bava's Demone?
Ooh.
Yeah. I like to
Nice.
do the anniversary posts as much as I can because people like those. Did you see the trailer for Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Dude, that looks fun.
It looks
Yeah.
fun, yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like it's gonna be a fun slasher.
I hope so. It does look fun. Let's see. When did I do that? Was that yesterday? Oh, and if you haven't checked it out, go check out the Indiegogo for a movie called The Witching Season 2. The original movie, it's like a 4 or 5 part anthology. You can find copies at Scream Team Releasing. I believe it's on Prime also. But this guy has an eye for October, and I'm not even joking. Michael Bailiff. He every year leading up to Halloween, he posts just still images, and I think he actually even went to where they filmed the opening for Halloween 4 and did Halloween 4 still images, which was really cool. So check that out. It's on the horrorsyndicate.com as well. I got one last thing we're going to talk about before we go, but yeah, 100 comments on the picture that I just put up here, the masks, which is one of my favorite images from this movie. You know, just seeing all those cool ass masks. But like, people are talking about how much they hated it before and then loved it, and it's just this is what I love about the Horror Syndicate is all of the interaction, seeing you guys talking about stuff and commenting, and good or bad. I like seeing the comments roll in. It's one of my favorite things to see. Seeing people share the stuff. We're doing our Nate, myself, and Seth together our list of our top 25 horror posters, and Nathan combined it into one list. So we're counting down our top 31 as a group horror posters. I think today was what was today? Was the Bride of Frankenstein? Yeah, Bride of Frankenstein was today. Child's Play was yesterday. So it's a mix. There's a lot of different things. I think the Raven was on there. Seth somehow got fucking Subspecies 2 on there.
Dude, that poster is fucking awesome. The one that I
It
sent you.
is. It is. I didn't even think about it. Like when I was going through my list and I saw you put Subspecies 2, I was like, yes, that's a great poster. Why did I think about that?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, a lot of those Full Moon always had decent posters early on, for real. Like even the Puppet Master movies have some good posters.
One thing I was gonna tell you.
I'm seeing it Friday morning.
It was supposed to be Child's Play 2, but I mean the first poster is good too.
Oh, was it
But
supposed to be Child's Play 2?
was the.
Oh, damn! I love the first poster though. The first poster is really dope.
The first poster is great. I mean, so I can't really argue against it. Yeah.
No, sorry about that. My bad. I didn't look at the list well enough.
No, it's okay.
But yeah, the other thing I wanted to chat about, by the way, if you don't follow the Facebook page, like Sean, I know you don't follow, you're missing out a lot of stuff. I know you're not on social media, but we do a lot of fun stuff. And I can't thank everybody enough for fucking just kind of taking a chance on us just to have a good time and talk about horror. That's what we're doing, right? Subspecies 5. Seth saw it. There's a review on the horrorsyndicate.com. Check it out. You probably have already because you said you read all of our stuff. And by the way, yes, this guy, I don't know who this is, but I love Italian horror. I love Italian horror. I love zombie. I love City of the Living Dead. The Beyond is one of my favorites. I want to talk about demons, of course. Demone. What?
It was just funny because I saw that comment pop up like right after you mentioned Demone. It's like that person was like waiting for the opportunity.
Italian horror.
By the way, I fucking love. Exactly. Well, I love Demons, and I think I really need to rewatch that again soon.
Dude, you need to rewatch Demons 2, bro. I love Demons 2. I just put up my article the other day about why I love Demons 2 more than Demons. It's awesome. And I think I convinced my friend Rachel to dress up as Sally. I've been trying to get somebody to dress up like Sally forever. My daughter won't do it. We got the wig and everything. But, Sally's awesome, bro.
There's something about the first one, though. I love the
movie
theaters.
The first one's awesome, man. Yes, Fabio Frizzi. Yeah. Did you see him on Joe Bob? Fabio Frizzi was on Joe Bob's first episode of the season on Shudder, and they did they did Zombie, and God, what was the other movie? Anyway, yeah, it was good stuff. I dedicate my 5th Jason X commentary to all the people that hate the movie. Oh man, put that on the list. My son's mad at me because that's the first Friday the 13th Jason movie he's ever seen. He's like, I'm still mad at you about that.
It's the first one I saw in theaters.
Is it really? The first one I saw in the theaters was, well, apparently, according to my mom, it was the first one, but Jason Goes to Hell. So,
yeah. I would love to see Final Chapter on the big screen and Jason Lives.
Yeah, they have this October. They have the first one playing, but it's like I've seen the first one on the big screen as an adult numerous times. It's like, come on already, give me part 2 at least. Give me part 3. I don't care. I want any of the other ones other than part 1. I mean, part 1 is iconic. It's a legendary horror movie. I get that, but come on. It's not even the best in its own series, which is rare, because obviously part 4, I'll say it right now, part 4 and part 6 are the 2 best Friday the 13th movies, period. As a matter of fact, we've got the proof. You guys voted on it last weekend. So
I will one up you there. I think 2, 4, and 6 are the best.
I agree, 100%. They are the best. So we're gonna do. So if anybody, I don't know if anybody on here saw, but we did the Friday the 13th 4 movies. Pick the one that you think's the worst, and then 4 movies. Pick the one that's your favorite. So I wanted to do the Elm Street movies, but there are literally only 8 of them. So I got to pick 4 bad ones and 4 good ones. So I don't know what to put in the good category and what to put in the bad category. Obviously, 1, 2, or 1, 3, New Nightmare are definitely in the good category. But what's the 4th one? Is it 2 or is it 4? Because I feel bad putting 4 or 2 in the bad category. Because I think the first 4 are great. Obviously, the remake, Freddy's Dead, and Part 5 are going to go in the bad category. I think Freddy's Dead's going to win that. But well, no, I take that back. The remake will win that.
The remake will win.
Yeah. Part 4 is overrated. Ooh.
Ray, did you create another count?
I did.
Is that you, Ray?
That's me. Can you?
Well,
I mean, Ted White was old. I mean, no offense, and he was really old. I mean, he hung in for a long time, man. That's kind of sad because Ted White he's like the last cowboy for real. Yeah, I mean, we've done all this. We've done a lot of stuff.
I got a question. Yeah, I was gonna say for a question for Bradley because he seems to not like Part 4, but with the mention of Ted White, you at least got to admit that Ted White is like one of the best Jasons out there, right? Throw me a bone here, buddy.
I think Ted White as Jason is probably the most terrifying Jason, period. I like, down, man. Yeah, I like what Kane Hodder brings to the table, and I appreciate that he was able to do it 4 times, and he did get shafted and not being chosen for Freddy versus Jason, in my opinion. But like Ted White, and I'm in the extreme minority here because a lot of people love Richard Brooker, and there's nothing against that at all. He was good, but I love CJ as Jason, CJ Graham. I love him so much as Jason. They give so much credit for Kane Hodder, but CJ was Jason before him. Excuse me, I'm not getting choked up. It's the phlegm. I'm on antibiotics, so. But CJ was doing things that they give Kane Hodder credit for. It's like, look at CJ's performance again, please, and then tell me how Kane Hodder started these things. Just saying.
Dude, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I love Kane Hodder's enthusiasm and love for the character, for the series, and for the fans. Seems like a great dude. Totally should have been cast as Jason, Freddy vs. Jason, but he is not even close to being one of my favorite Jasons. I prefer Ted White's my favorite. I would go with Brooker. I would go with Derek Mears. I would go with CJ Graham.
Yeah. Derek Mears is good. He should come back
at
some point.
And then possibly Kane after those, but I don't know.
I think the consensus, and we could put the vote up on the Horror Syndicate, but I do think the consensus is going to be Kane Hodder. I think most people are going to say Kane Hodder is their favorite Jason.
It's the obvious one that people throw out.
Yeah, that's fine, and I understand he played it 4 times, but he also played, no matter what you like, but he played in 3 of the worst Friday the 13th movies. And that's just not my opinion. That's a fact. Jason Goes to Hell. I like Jason Goes to Hell for the most part, and I understand what Adam Marcus was doing. I'm a friend of Adam Marcus's. I like the guy quite a bit. He's a great dude, and he was given a job to do, and he did his job. But Kane Hodder's barely in that as Jason, first of all, and secondly, the makeup job in that movie is awful. It's terrible.
His head looks like a piece of popcorn.
Yeah, right. Like almost it hasn't been completely popped. And then Jason Takes Manhattan. I do like Jason Takes Manhattan. I think it's a nostalgia thing mostly because it's not that good, but he looks okay. I actually like the mask quite a bit. It's got that yellowish, sheen to it or whatever. But again, it's a bad movie. And Jason's just wet all the time. Like, why is he fucking soaking wet the whole time? And then you go to Jason X, and man, just what the fuck, man? That's like we're running out of ideas. Let's throw them in space. And like, I get that it can be a fun movie. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of fun stuff. Couple great kills. I hate with a passion the mask they gave Kane Hodder at the beginning of that movie. That is the worst Jason mask, hands down, out of the entire series. Yeah. I'm not talking about Uber Jason. I'm talking about the mask they have and the little fuzzball hair. The worst. That's one of the worst. I mean, Jason Goes to Hell is definitely the worst, but this one, I hate the mask itself. That doesn't look like any Jason mask of any of the other movies ever. and I don't like Uber Jason. So
Yeah.
you were saying?
I can't remember.
That's
What's his
cool.
name? Ari?
Ari Lehman, I think, believe. Yeah, he's a pretty cool guy. He's in a friend of mine's movies, The Barn. If you haven't seen The Barn, check it out. Scream Team releasing. Kane Hodder is the only Jason actor to take out another Jason. Yeah, that's true. That is true. And honestly, probably the worst Jason actor, Ken Kersinger. Nothing against the guy, but Freddy versus Jason, he was just the worst. Should have had Kane Hodder.
I don't blame Kurzinger. I don't blame Kurzinger for that. I blame the director.
Yeah, I agree with you
I
too.
think he was doing what he was trying to do from someone who had no understanding of the character whatsoever.
Right. I met Ken. I'd like to meet him because I'd like to get him to sign my Crystal Lake Memories book. I got to get back to cons. At least Lane kept his right eye open in Jason X.
I think he meant Kane.
Kane, yeah. R. Lehman, his favorite in the series. Really? That's interesting. I've still not met him. He's definitely one I'd like to meet. I've got the documentary, Crystal Lake Memories. I've got the book, and it's like senior yearbook style, high school yearbook style. And I've got some of the counselors like Adrian, I'm Jenny. I'm gonna be like Nate, just do first names. But I got a lot of them to sign in. I got there's two Jasons that won't be able to sign in, unfortunately. I missed out on seeing what's his name? Well, Richard Brooker had passed at this point. But God damn it, Ted White. I won't be able to get Ted White. But I'd like to get Morga. I've got CJ. I've got Kane. I even have Steve Dash, who passed away recently, or well, a couple years ago. But he actually he was great. Steve Dash was a sweetheart. We went and saw him at Horror Hound in Indianapolis, and then a year later we saw him again. We were in line getting ready to meet Jenny. I can't think of her name now.
Amy Steele.
Amy Steele, yeah. We were getting ready to meet Amy Steele, and Steve Dash grabs my son and puts the machete up to his throat. He's like, "I remember you from last year, Reynolds, right?" And I'm like, "Holy shit, Steve Dash remembers my son? How cool is that?" So yeah, Steve Dash was a pleasure of a fella. Gone too soon. But anyway, Kane, yeah. I thought Pamela Springsteen was better Angela Baker than Felissa Rose. I do too. I agree with you that she made the role her own. Angela, I mean, Felissa Rose gets all the credit in the world, but those movies aren't very good. Have you seen those movies, Seth? Now the name is escaping me.
Sleepaway Camp. I've seen. Believe it or not, I haven't seen all of them. I've seen only parts 2 and part 4.
That's odd. Well, I like part 2.
I like part 2.
I like part 2 and 3 better than the first one. The Felissa Rose barely says a word in the first movie, and I think the only thing that she's remembered for mostly in that movie is the iconic ending, where you see that she's a dude. But yeah, Pamela Springsteen did a great job, and she made it her own. She was so fucking psychotic in that movie. Both of them. I definitely suggest them. Plus, our co-hosts of the Horror Syndicate Discourse did the Scream Factory artwork for all 3 of those movies. Nathan Thomas Milner. That's a fun bonus.
The 4th movie is garbage.
Yeah, I told you to stay away from that one.
Yeah, for good reason.
Friday and 13th Part 5 is awesome. Did you know Steve Dash and CJ Graham were in a fan? Yes, I did. I can't say much for that. I'm really good friends with a fellow named Vince DeSanti, if you know who that is. And he had a lot of beef with the guys who made Vengeance. And the Vengeance are really wasn't very good. You did a review on it, didn't you?
I did a review on Vengeance. Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Um,
convoluted as fuck.
it was like one of those where I think there was a lot of like interesting stuff in there. It was just so unfocused because it was too busy. It's weird to complain about Friday 13th having a body count, but it
Yeah.
was like too busy focused on the body count aspect where it kind of lost sight of the good stuff that it was doing. There's stuff I do like in the Vengeance movies, especially part 2.
I didn't see the second one because I didn't bother, but I do remember the first one being very like convoluted, and I couldn't.
The second
It
the
was
second
nice.
one's better.
Was it? Maybe I will watch that. But Steve Dash plays the sheriff, I believe,
Yep.
and I think doesn't CJ play Elias Voorhees?
Yep.
Yeah, I thought so. But yeah, I don't know. I've got like a hardcore allegiance to Vince, and if he's got problems with somebody, I generally kind of take his side. He's a good dude. He knows what he's doing. Vince DeSanti, he never hike alone. If you guys know that one, he's good. He's been on the show numerous times. He's a good friend of ours. Seth hates his guts though. Probably because when he
I
gets on
don't
the
hate
show,
him.
he doesn't show. I was joking. I know you don't hate him. But
I
yeah,
just don't know him very well. I can't say he's my friend.
no, yeah, I guess. I mean, I do talk to him on occasion. I was actually, he and I were working closely on possibly doing I'm a comic book writer, also on Parallel Comics. But he was talking to me about potentially writing the comic adaptation of Never Hike Alone, which would be cool. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but yeah, I like Vince. Vince is good people. He's one of our biggest supporters early on too. That'd be weird. One of the guys, Ari, was one of the guys working on Never Hike Alone. He's currently doing Batman Halloween crossover. That's weird. I rent and maybe I'll watch it at some point. There's a lot of Friday the 13th fan films that have come out. The worst one is that Roseblood or whatever the hell it's called. Did you see that one with
Yeah, I didn't care for it. Yeah.
Park, whatever her name is, what is her name? Lar Park. What is it?
Lincoln.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they brought her back. If somebody's making fan films bringing her back, why can't somebody make an Elm Street fan film and bring Alice back? I'm just saying. I'm just asking questions.
Well, it should be for my film anyway.
There you go. Our film. We'll make it together. Get Nate to direct it. We'll just write and do all that fun stuff. So that's a great question. Seth and I have talked about this at length, I believe. So coming out, this is fun. Coming out of Halloween Resurrection in 2002, I was stoked and amped. I was like, "Uh oh, what's next?" And my brother and myself talked about, because we were both big Halloween fans, talked about merging the two timelines, the Thorn and the HBO timeline. And I wrote, it's called the Halloween: The Legend of Michael Myers, and it merged both timelines. But really, like looking back at it, and Seth had a really great idea. We're going to be doing a show about the future of Halloween, so I don't want to get too deep into this because Seth's idea is really cool. But I think maybe based on tonight, somebody mentioned how it'd be great to see an adult Jamie Lloyd and Michael coming back in, in a post Halloween 4, skipping over Halloween 5. I think that'd be kind of fun to see in a comic. Otherwise, I don't know. That's a good question. What about you, Seth? You got an answer for that?
Yeah, I mean, I would totally do a total character piece about Freddie Harris and Dangertainment after the events of Resurrection, and just how does such an entrepreneur like Freddie, just kind of pick up his life after the events, after he kung fu Michael. That's what I would explore.
Yeah, and I think that Seth has a great idea for a title for that one. It's called "You're Looking a Bit Crispy, Mike, like Chicken Fried." I hate Linda Blair. Okay. I saw Jason Rising. That one was okay. That Vince had a hand in that one too, I
Who's the
believe. Yeah, an Elm Street film
yeah.
that brings Jesse back would be badass. Absolutely. Now we've had Mark Patton on the show as well. That was back in 2020. He is an amazing person. I love that dude. We need to do more interviews. It's been a while since we've done an interview. Uh, I would like that very much actually. I love Mark Patton, and I love Elm Street too. It's the very first horror movie I ever saw. Um, I forgot what I was gonna say. I would love that would be interesting. I'd like to think, and I know Seth has an issue with this. Why Jamie would just drop Jamie, and I mean Lori. Why would Lori drop Jamie in Illinois and take off with John? That totally doesn't make sense. But I my biggest problem with H2O, of course, as we talked about, is where the fuck has he been for 20 years? What has he been doing, Michael Myers? He just decides all of a sudden it's time. You know, it's the 17th birthday of my nephew that I have no idea exists. Halloween H2O is such a boneheaded movie. Busta Rhymes is the worst actor in any Halloween films.
In case you couldn't tell, I was being very sarcastic with my
Yeah,
entertainment.
I mean, I'm thinking here that you're probably right, but I'm going to give a close second to that Kaplan lady who plays Tina. She was awful. People say skip H5, but honestly, I think what the characters go through could make a passable fall. Yeah, but the ending fucks everything up, man. Robert England commentary on 3, 4, and 7 would be awesome. Any Robert England, I could listen to that guy talk all day long. There's certain guys, I do love commentaries. Romero, I could listen to talk all day long. Carpenter, I could listen to talk all day long. Yeah, I mean, there's a few of these guys I could just listen to forever. Peter Jackson's another one. I love listening to Peter Jackson. Uh, and Robert's another one. And Robert's got stories for days. You know, like you've seen the documentary, and what's his name? The guy who did the makeup for the first movie. He was able to finish Robert's stories because he's heard them so many times. Here I'm calling him Robert like I'm Nate or something. First naming him. I think someone take the Man in Black story in a new direction could be awesome. Yeah, instead of the Order of the Thorn, yeah, that would probably be cool. But I just don't know what direction. Like, why would Michael have an overseer? You know?
It's funny because a couple years ago, Ray, me and you talked about doing a Halloween fan comic.
Yes.
That would the idea actually, even though we both love part 6, it would kind of ignore the events of Curse of Michael Myers.
It has to.
What I was writing down is I had a way around the Man in Black thing, to not give too much of an emphasis on it. Like you deal with it in the beginning of the story, and then you move on from it from there. I have to actually pull that document up and take a look at it.
You need to send it to me. Maybe we can play with it some more. Maybe pool our money together and hire an artist and just do a fan con. That'd be fun, really. That's a good question. I don't know. Who would you have made? I don't know. Of existing characters?
I just think the whole Man in Black thing was just it was a dickhead move. I mean, I understand where they needed to kind of add some things in there, I guess, for pacing issues and to kind of make the film seem more interesting. But the whole thing where they introduced the Man in Black, I think it hurt the film and it put the franchise into a corner that it wasn't able to get out of.
Yeah, and that's definitely something we talked about last week for sure.
Yeah. I'll be right back, Ray.
Okay, yeah, I don't know, man. These Man in Black question, I don't know who it could be. Michael Myers was more of a force of nature in the first movie, and then they added the whole sister thing into it in the second movie because John Carpenter was drunk and on coke or something. But I don't know, man. How about Brackett, Sheriff Brackett? I don't know. It could be interesting if he broke Myers out to kill him himself rather than having him locked behind bars. Maybe it's Loomis. But the Charles Lee Ray, at least, wouldn't be caught dead in the Star Wars Holiday Special. The idea of the Man in Black shows up to make sure Michael is allowed to keep killing while never finding out who he is. Yeah, I just don't know who that would be though. Like, there's like, I mean, it made sense in a way that it was Win, although, in the very first movie, we see him and he's concerned about Michael being loose, kind of. Although he, that does make sense because if you think about it, he was almost telling Loomis not to go to Haddonfield. So maybe that's a good reason why Dr. Wynn was the Man in Black. Interesting. Think about. Now you got me thinking, Travis. Damn you. That's okay. I don't know, man. That's Seth and I talked about a couple years ago about writing a fan comic because you gotta have a fan film or fan whatever, and all the proceeds need to go to making the comic. Um, and I don't remember everything we talked about because it kind of just passed in the night. We had a colorist who offered to color it for us, and money became an issue, so it never happened. But I mean, I know a lot of artists now that I'm 3-4 years deeper into my comic book career, if you will. Unparalleled comics, by the way, and they're not horror comics, unfortunately. I'm getting there. I've got a Italian horror love letter to Lucio Fulci that I want to write, but I have written. I just got to get an artist on it. I've got this Italian guy, really good artist, who I was like, you are the guy that has to do this comic, but I got to wait till he's available. Did we read this one? But if it is existing, Dr. Hoffman. Dr. Hoffman wants to get rid of Michael Myers, though. He doesn't. Yeah, I don't think it would be Michael Hoffman. I thought about that last week, or we talked about it on our off chat. While Wynn ties back the original film, the relationship between Hoffman and Loomis and four is more fleshed out. But man, Hoffman just was so dismissive. He wanted to get rid of Michael Myers and didn't just hated Loomis at that point. It seemed like. My favorite Loomis line in Halloween 2 is telling the nurse to shut up. Oh, I like when Loomis is rude and abrasive like that. Go on, move. Oh, I think we're going to wrap this one up as soon as Seth gets back. I got to get my daughter to bed. It's 10 o'clock, and she got school in the morning. I have got to get my ticket for Saw. I got Marcus Theaters. If I've got the rewards. I get like fucking $5 and $10 coupons every now and again, and the ticket price for this is only $6. So Saw 10, and then tomorrow or Friday morning I'm gonna go see. I got shit to do, so I'm gonna go see movies. Seth, I thought you said something. 12. It's at 12:05 tomorrow. There's only 3 seats taken, so yep. Yeah, I was just kind of thinking about wrapping this up a little bit. You need to send me that stuff so I can take a look.
Yeah, I know.
Underrated, but in Halloween 5, every moment where Loomis hits or throws a children's toy or mask makes me laugh. Seth hates Dickhead Loomis in Halloween 5. All right. Is there anything else you want to discuss before I got to get Helena to bed. I got to order my ticket for tomorrow. I may as well order my ticket for Friday as well. Are you going to be seeing Exorcist this weekend?
Yeah, I was talking with my buddy earlier. We're going to go see it. I'm not overly excited for it, but I'm going to go see it. I'm going to go see it with an open mind. And
do we want to do a show on The Exorcist, the beginning?
If you want to, I'm definitely, like I said, I'm definitely going to see it. So if you want to do that Sunday, I could do that.
I have not made up my mind on it yet because I have not seen it, but we know that happens sometimes. People make up their mind because of somebody's directing or anything like that, and we are not doing that here. We're
Well,
gonna wait, going with an open.
I'll let you know how I feel about it too, because if I walk out of it not liking it, I don't know if I'm gonna want to talk about it.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm going in. I'm kind of cautiously, maybe not optimistic, but that second trailer kind of made me feel a little bit better about the idea of this movie. Maybe one day Jigsaw or Chucky will go out to space. It worked for Leprechaun. Well, the critters are from space, so that makes sense. Have a great night, guys. Evil Dies tonight. Okay, yeah, that's Seth's line. I'll stay home and watch The Exorcist 3 for the 80th time. Absolutely. Exorcist 3 is fantastic. I like Exorcist 2. I'm just going to say, I can't help it. I like the second movie.
You want to hear my hot take?
What?
I like Exorcist 3 better. I like Exorcist 3 better than the original.
I know you
throwing that out there.
Nothing wrong with that. Thanks for your live stream tonight. Yeah, come back next time. We'll be on for sure next Wednesday. Maybe something this weekend. We're going to be doing a Halloween. I'm trying to figure out a good name, but I think the future of Halloween, because of all the news coming out about the TV show, new movies, all that stuff. So if you're interested in something like that, I did want to, before we go, I forgot. I wanted to see what you guys thought. Do we need a documentary on the Halloween series akin to Crystal Lake Memories and Never Sleep Again? Let us know in the comments. I say abso-fucking-lutely, because those are the two best horror documentaries ever made, period.
I definitely think so. Like, it's funny because when H.2.5 came out, it was like there wasn't many of those, right? That it was like one of the first ones, so it was like sufficient for what it was. But like they spent a lot of time on the first one, and they kind of like ran through all the sequels while intercutting between the convention stuff and Mrs. Stupendous, and but since then we've had, like you said, Crystal Lake Memories and Never Sleep Again, which both of those are just fucking amazing. Like, I'll randomly put those in from time to time, and I'll just totally get like enthralled in them. And I really feel like we need one of those for Halloween. The closest that we have to it is in book form with the Taken Shape books, but I would like to see an actual documentary. I mean, and they could do a Crystal Lake Memories thing where they use Taken Shape as a way to do it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know those books, but there's a way around it. Yeah, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight, especially a couple of new names like Richard and Bradley and Travis, and a couple of the old guys like Sean and Joran. And yeah, thanks for coming out. We'll be talking about Halloween 3 next week on Wednesday, and we want you all to come back out and chat with us about this fantastic film. But we're going to end that tonight's episode on Halloween 4, and yeah, we'll see you next week. Don't hit subscribe. Check out the website. Remember, Seth's got some great articles up, and the trailer for Thanksgiving, Eli Roth's new movie, is up. We will see you next week.
Shit.